So many women after 60 live with burning and tearing down below in silence. Maybe the pain comes after having intercourse with your partner, and it can feel embarrassing to bring up. But here's the important truth: these symptoms are not something you must accept, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do to make them better. What surprises many women is that burning and tearing often have more than one cause. And if you only treat it as dryness or infection, you may be missing the real reason it keeps coming back. I've seen it again and again in my clinic. Women who felt hopeless, even afraid to be intimate, suddenly find relief once they finally understand what's really happening, and that's exactly what we're going to do together today. Welcome back to the Female Health Podcast, where we talk openly woman to woman about intimate health after 60. I'm Dr. Lia Parker. I'm a gynecologist and an intimate health psychologist with over 30 years of experience helping women restore not just their comfort, but their confidence and spark. Today we're exploring why it burns, why it tears, and most importantly, what you can do and what you must never do if you want lasting relief. Stay with me until the very end, because the final secret I'll share is the one almost every woman is shocked by. It's not another cream or pill. It's a hidden trigger most women use every single day without realizing it's making things worse. Once you discover it, everything changes. So let's get started. Before we can go into the deeper causes, there's one crucial thing we have to rule out first. This first step is a checkpoint, and skipping it is one of the biggest mistakes women make. Why? Because if you miss this step, every cream, every supplement, every moisturizer you try will fail. This one thing has to be ruled out before anything else will work. So what is it? Let's walk through the signs together and see if any of them sound familiar. You might notice the burning most when you go to the bathroom, or perhaps it's during intimacy that the stinging really takes over. For some women, it feels like the skin is more sensitive than ever, almost raw. Others describe a strange new smell or a kind of discharge they've never seen before. It's important to really pay attention to these details, even the ones that seem small or embarrassing, because sometimes they're the very clues that reveal what's really going on. And then there are the signs that catch women completely off guard. Discharge that looks thick and clumpy, almost like cottage cheese, or in some cases a bubbly, frothy texture with a strong, fishy odor. I know that sounds unusual, but for some women that exact detail was the missing piece to their puzzle. Now, if you're listening and thinking, yes, that sounds like me, then this very first checkpoint might be where your answer lies. But if you're thinking, no, that doesn't fit at all, you might change your mind after hearing this, because many women believe they don't have these signs, and then when they think harder, they realize the shocking truth. Sometimes it's not the big dramatic signs at all. It can be as subtle as a little sting after you pee, the kind you almost brush off, or a light itching that comes and goes, never strong enough to stop you, but always there in the background. Maybe it's just a hint of odor that feels different, or a bit more discharge than you're used to. Nothing alarming, just not quite normal. These are the moments many women ignore, until later they realize those tiny changes were actually pointing to an infection all along. Here's what matters: when it comes to infections, guessing isn't safe. You need clear answers. Infections must be treated by your doctor. Left untreated, they can spread, become more painful, and make tearing and bleeding far more likely. So if you have even the slightest doubt, don't wait and don't wonder. Please, see your doctor. A quick swab or a simple urine test is often all it takes to know for sure, and from there, you can get the exact treatment you need. And if you want to be well prepared for that appointment, think about the answers to questions like, when did the burning first start? Does it happen all the time, or only during intimacy, or when you urinate? Have you noticed any discharge, odor, or color change? And if you've already tried treatments, did they help or not? These details give your doctor the clearest picture, and they make it far less likely that you'll leave with yet another guess instead of a real solution. And if none of this seems to match, then you especially need to hear what comes next, because often the cause lies deeper. And that's where we're heading now. We've ruled out infections, and that opens the door to something far more complicated. What I'm about to explain may not sound familiar at first, but it could be the missing link you've been searching for. To really understand this, we have to look at the body itself, and yes, that means a little anatomy. I promise to keep it simple, but it's important because without this piece, the solutions I'll share later won't make sense. Think of your pelvis as a bowl, lined with muscles that are meant to support, stretch, and release. Normally they work quietly in the background, and you never give them a thought. But if those muscles tighten too much, or scar tissue from childbirth or surgery pulls on them, the result can feel exactly like infection, burning, tearing, even bleeding. It's not exciting to hear about muscles, but here's the key. For many women, this hidden tension is the real source of their pain. More importantly are the nerves. Imagine a light switch jammed in the on position. Even when there's no visible damage, the nerves in the vulva or vestibule keep firing pain signals, creating that burning, stinging, or rawness. Some women even describe it as feeling like they're being cut with a knife during intimacy. And here's the surprising part. Nerve pain doesn't always stay local. It can radiate into the bladder, the lower back, or even the belly. This is where things start to feel confusing, because the pain seems to move, and no cream or pill seems to help. What can help in some cases is calming the nerves with very specific treatments, and I'll be talking about those shortly. But for many women, just realizing that the burning isn't all in their head already feels like the first step forward, and then there's the skin itself. This is the most critical piece. Conditions like lichen sclerosus or lichen planus can make the tissue paper thin, inflamed, and painful to touch. At first, this might just look like mild irritation, but left untreated, these conditions can scar, cause tearing, and most shockingly, even change the way your vulva looks and feels. For some women, finally naming this condition was the moment everything clicked into place. I know this all feels heavier, maybe even discouraging, but don't worry. With time, patience, and the right kind of care, there are massive improvements and real relief ahead, and you'll hear them in this very video. In the next section, I'll share something completely different, something that doesn't take months or years. A first step you can begin right away, and for many women, it's the beginning of true comfort and healing. So yes, the deeper causes matter, but you're about to hear the part that's faster, simpler, and immediately practical. So far, we've ruled out infections, because if that's the cause, no cream or supplement will ever work until it's treated properly. We've uncovered the hidden issues of muscles that tear, nerves that misfire, and skin conditions that thin and scar. These aren't small problems, and they're not in your head. They're real, and now you know the truth behind them. And here's where it gets exciting. We're about to move from the complex to the practical, from what takes months or years to something you can start using right away. This is the very first step many women over 60 use to finally feel relief, and you're going to hear it next. Now we come to one of the most important truths about burning and tearing down below. For many women after 60, the root cause is falling estrogen. Estrogen isn't just a hormone for fertility, it's the very thing that keeps the vaginal walls thick, elastic, and well supplied with natural moisture. When those levels drop, the tissue begins to thin, blood flow decreases, collagen and elasticity fade. The result? Fragile skin that burns, tears, and struggles to protect itself. That's why even simple daily activities, a walk, sitting too long, or intimacy, can suddenly feel painful. It isn't just dryness, it's the tissue itself becoming vulnerable. And without support, that cycle keeps worsening over time. Now, before I tell you how to support this tissue, let me give you a glimpse of what's ahead. Because the most powerful part of this video isn't just about replacing moisture, it's about the hidden triggers almost every woman over 60 is exposed to. These are everyday things you're probably doing right now without realizing they're making the burning worse. That's coming up very soon, and I promise it's the part you do not want to miss. But first, here's the immediate step you can take right now, using a vaginal moisturizer. This isn't the same as the lubricants you may have used during intimacy. A true vaginal moisturizer is applied regularly, like lotion for the skin, and it works to hydrate the tissue itself. Over time, it can restore comfort, ease that raw sensitivity, and make intimacy far less painful. Applying a vaginal moisturizer 2 or 3 times a week can make a dramatic difference. Burning during urination can ease, tearing during intimacy can lessen. Even the constant raw sensitivity that makes sitting uncomfortable can begin to calm down. It's not a miracle overnight, but it is a direct, practical step you can take that starts to protect and strengthen your tissue immediately. And here's why this matters. If estrogen loss is at the core of your symptoms, no cream, no antibiotic, no supplement will work until that tissue is nourished again. Moisturizers are the bridge. They don't replace estrogen completely, but they prepare and protect your vaginal walls so that every other treatment has a chance to succeed. So yes, moisturizers are a first step, but the real breakthrough comes next. In the very next part, we'll uncover those hidden triggers, the everyday products, habits, and routines that secretly keep you in pain. Removing them can transform everything, and I can almost guarantee you've never been warned about them before. We've talked about infections. We've uncovered the hidden problems with muscles, nerves, and skin. We've even looked at how falling estrogen weakens the vaginal walls, and how moisturizers can bring relief. But here's the truth. None of that matters if you're still being exposed to the secret triggers that make everything worse. And this is the part almost nobody talks about. These triggers are so powerful because they hide in plain sight. They're in products women have used for years, in daily routines that feel completely harmless, even in healthy habits you might have been told were good for you. And yet they quietly inflame, irritate, and break down the tissue, keeping you stuck in the cycle of burning and tearing, no matter what else you try. Think about it. Have you ever noticed your symptoms flaring up out of nowhere, even when you thought you were doing everything right? That's not an accident. For many women, it's these hidden irritants at work. And the shocking part is, most doctors never warn you about them. This is why the next section of this video may be the most important one of all. Because once you know what these secret triggers are, you can remove them from your life immediately. And for some women, that single change is what finally unlocks lasting comfort after years of pain. So stay with me. The final part is where I reveal exactly what these triggers are, how they sneak into your life, and the simple steps to finally cut them out. This is the moment you've been waiting for. The secret triggers that almost every woman over 60 is exposed to, and that could be keeping you in pain right now. And the third trigger will shock you the most. These are everyday products, used without a second thought, yet they quietly undo all the healing work your body is trying to do. The good news? You have the power to remove them starting today. The first trigger is hidden in the products that promise to freshen or clean you. I'm talking about scented soaps, douches, wipes, and powders. They seem caring, even gentle, but they strip away your natural protection and leave your tissue raw and inflamed. You don't need them. In fact, they are one of the fastest ways to make burning and tearing worse. And then there are the things that seem harmless because you don't put them directly on your skin. They sit in your home, part of your everyday routine, so familiar you don't even notice them anymore. Yet with every wash, every rinse, they leave a residue that lingers, pressing against the thinnest, most delicate skin you have. This hidden culprit is the laundry room. Fabric softeners and certain detergents leave behind chemicals that rub against fragile tissue every time you wear underwear. For women with already paper-thin skin from low estrogen, this constant exposure is like sandpaper. And now the most shocking trigger of all, the materials you wear closest to your body. Tight synthetic underwear, panty liners with fragrances, even pads that claim to be gentle, trap moisture, heat, and chemicals right against your skin. Over time, they irritate, weaken, and make tearing almost inevitable. So here's what works. Switch to plain, fragrance-free soap only on the outside. Wash underwear with gentle, simple detergents. Choose breathable cotton. And avoid anything scented or synthetic pressed against your skin. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed these triggers in your own life? Have you tried cutting them out? Share your story in the comments below, because your experience might be the very thing another woman needs to hear. If you want to see more of my videos, you have to subscribe to this channel and like this video. And if you watched until the very end, comment "End scene" to show your support. Together we're building a space where women over 60 can finally talk openly, find answers, and reclaim their comfort, their confidence, and their joy. Please subscribe to make my day. Thank you.